Soul is a film which follows the story of Joe Gardner, a middle school band teacher whose life hasn't quite gone the way he expected it to, whose true passion is jazz and he's good at it, but when he travels to another realm to help someone find their passion, he soon discovers what it means to have soul. Welcome on in everyone, my name is Near Distance and today we're going to be speaking about soul, and I'm going to be talking about how it's left me inspired, how it has affected me, and the impressions that it had left on me when I'd finished watching it. I was never really a big Disney fan. I'll keep it real. Never really was. When I was a kid, sure, 100%. Watching the classics like Finding Nemo, Toy Story, and the likes, but growing into an adult, I just kind of hadn't really been interested in it too much. The film that left the most lasting impression on me before seeing this one was probably WALL-E, especially the love story that it shows, I suppose, between WALL-E and Eve. Crazy how it happens between two robots in it. Unbelievable. But yeah, the gameplay that you're seeing here there today is me taking my first ever stroll there with the Ferrari F40. It's a car there that has definitely aged like a fine wine. I'm taking it around the Goliath there today, a 53.1 mile stretch around the entirety of the outskirts of the entire Forza Horizon 6 map. This is really a good stomping ground there to get started with any car, and you'll see that I start to become more and more confident using it. The tune that I have on it allows the car to slide, so you have to just be gentle with it, and there's going to be a lot of throttle control, a shit ton of throttle control, but you'll see me get more and more used to it as we get further into it. But yeah, that's what I'm doing on it. That's what's going on in the background there anyway. But yeah, back onto the film. So the inspiration there from Soul had begun when, after seeing it, it kind of opens your eyes on a lot of different perceptions, a lot of common perceptions, and some misconceptions there as well. The film decides to touch on unexpected death, the zone, lost souls with no meaning or purpose. So I want to go into a little bit more detail about each of those particular things there in today's video and kind of speak my mind and thoughts there on that. So in the film, Joe Gardner is taken to the great beyond. Essentially, that's what they call it in the film, and he puts in so much effort to getting back to his body because of the opportunity there that he's been given. But he ends up having to try to lead someone who hasn't really seen or lived or believes that they have no meaning or no purpose there on the planet, and they haven't really seen Earth before. So it follows the story there of these two like working together as a duo there to make it work, and it does have a happy ending, which is lovely. He's big into his jazz music, so piano there was the main instrument there that he'd play, and he'd often find himself in what is known as the zone, where in the film the zone, otherwise known as more like flow state, in the mind, is where when you're doing something that you know you're passionate about and you can feel yourself just drifting away, and you basically work on autopilot, or whatever you're doing runs on autopilot, and you're able to just go ahead and think about completely different things whilst all of this is happening around you. I find that happening quite often when playing driving games such as Forza. When you've just got the open roads and you're out there driving, it is very easy for me to get into the zone, to get into that flow state mentality, and just be able to just think about other things and let the driving do itself. It's such a strange way, but it connects. It's a very spiritual kind of aspect in the film where the zone is shared in the exact same place as people who are deemed as lost souls. These are the guys that say that they have no meaning, they have no purpose, and this is where anxiety and depression is represented in the film. You see these souls, but there's a group out there that are trying to recover these lost souls, and when they do, people will just snap out of it. And it reminds me of a bit of psychology there known as metanoia, which I'll have to I need to find the definition there for it again. Yeah, so metanoia is a ancient Greek term used in psychology to essentially describe the act of radically deciding to start living in order to rescue your life from intense futility. Now, this may have came from maybe a certain existential conflict or something that has happened there in your life to which you've realised, right, you need to fucking snap out of this real quick. It gets shown in the film, and it relates to me and some of my own experiences there as well, allowing me to follow the path there that I'm taking there now, and to making videos like this, and to speak my mind on things like this, and just kind of carry myself in a completely different way, becoming unstoppable in whatever it is there that I'm looking to achieve. But I feel like in life now, after watching this film, there's no real need to search for a meaning or a purpose or being worth anything on the planet. I think living to me is just kind of a state of being, and you just need to do it. You just need to live. And living could mean a whole heap load of things. As I feel like everyone's perception on this particular thing is different there from one another. So everyone's going to have different outcomes or different perspectives on this type of stuff. You can see in the film as well that when the unexpected happens to Joe in his situation, you see how almost the desperation kicks in. There's like hints of desperation throughout the film that you can see, where it's like he needs his fucking life back. He needs to get back out there and start living again. And I think it all kind of comes into terms with not just living, but wanting to live, which I think has very positive connotations. The second entity of the duo is known as 22, and it was essentially a code number given to this one soul that had been partnered up and mentored by a whole heap of people, but they'd never accepted it or never found anything that was like the spark. Joe believes it's a spark, but it's through 22's newfound realizations of being on the planet and living. You could just see the sense of freedom there that it shows, that a lot of people are kind of running on autopilot and not essentially thinking for themselves. I think consensus shapes that a lot, where the general consensus of something, and a lot of it is spread throughout like mainstream media, social media, and all sorts of platforms, as to where you see something, you absorb it, and then you become it, right? Like the saying goes, you become with what you surround yourself with. And I think that's very important as well, because 22 in the film has never started living yet. They are completely free to everything, and they start taking in details, little tiny details about the world that just mean so much to them. At first, to Joe, it doesn't matter to him there at all, but when he reflects and he sees that maybe jazz and maybe playing the piano isn't everything, and it's not going to be complete as well. He's not going to be complete with jazz. There are other things there that you can choose to cherish and to enjoy and to love about the world that you live in. It's a very important film there to me, and I've been feeling quite passionate about it. It reminds me of the film Perfect Days there as well. Perfect Days is more surrounded on the quietness of life and witnessing someone who is kind of surrounding themselves in solitude. It has its ups and its downs, as well as the likes of Soul does, but I'd like to kind of put them hand in hand as quite similar films, but each of them take life in their own different directions, which I think is quite important there for the two of them. They're comparable, but they're not similar, if that makes any sense. But yeah, I think that's all I've got to say there about the movie Soul there today. As always, it has been I, Near Distance, signing off once again. I'll see you when I see you, I suppose. That's it. And I hope to see you guys in the near distant future. But yeah, thanks for coming on in, listening to what I've got to say there today. And yeah, I suppose I will see you in the next one. Alright, take care everyone. Have a good rest of your day. Bye bye.